Yeah, all right. I guess it's going. There we go. My name is Eric
Yep.
Bean.
I'm William Sammons.
I'm Alex.
This is our presentation over the PeopleFirst case that we had to review for the class. So let's go down to the key issues. Some key issues with this case that we found were that Lopez was not managing effectively. It seemed like everyone had their own, they were doing their own thing, but they would, she would take over and then not be able to give up control and communicate with them effectively. And then she was being disrespectful, not only towards her boss. Whenever her boss would confront her about things, she would always be kind of standoffish and would be like, well, I know what's going on. You don't need to be involved at all. And then she'd also be disrespectful to her team members, not respecting the work they've done and not communicating with them. Another key issue was that it seems like Lopez refused to take responsibility. When she was talking to her boss, she kept wanting to shift the blame to, oh, it's what these people, well, it's what the client wants. Well, this guy asked to look at the work. So it seems like she's just unwilling to take responsibility for her own mistakes and to just accept that, yeah, some things are wrong and it's her fault. As said earlier, it seems like Lopez is not communicating effectively. She seems to be telling her team one thing, but then getting something else from the client and then immediately changing it. And also she is telling her boss one thing when really she's telling the exact opposite to her team members. And then also she's not delegating properly. Seems like she's just, when someone doesn't do their share of the work or it's not up to her standard, she just does it herself and doesn't let anyone else have a say in it, which is not good delegation. And then lastly, one of the big issues is, well, she's changing work without discussion. One of the things I was talking about how some of the employees felt undervalued, like their work wasn't really counted because every time they go to look at it, it completely changed and nothing they had done was left there. And so she would just change it without discussing it with them, as in, this is what's wrong with this. Here's how I think we should change it, or by even showing what she changed and why she did it. So some problem sources that were found with this case was that the meeting with client and changing work. It seemed like Lopez was spending a lot of time meeting with the client and then would immediately change the work consistently. And then her team members wouldn't know what was going on, and neither would their boss. So it was very difficult for them to actually get anything done. And then once again, changing the work done without explanation. There was no explanation regarding why the work was being done, as talked about earlier, because she was just adding changes and completely changing it without explaining to her team members, here's why I think this should change, and here's how we can make it better. And then it also seems like she's a negative view of her team members. When she talked about it with her boss, she described them as, I think she described one as a baby, which was, I thought was very negative view of them, and then called the rest lazy. So that's not very good when you're trying to lead a team. And it also seems like she's a lack of a social and like almost emotional awareness. She doesn't quite understand like how others might feel, or she doesn't take that into account. And also she just doesn't want to accept everyone else's point of view. And it seems like she has an inability to lead and manage effectively. She seems to not be able to, like we said earlier, delegate work and make sure that all the employees are feeling as if their contributions are being added and heard. And then lastly, it seems like she's a problem with her attitude. Just seems like she just, maybe because it's from all the working, trying to do it all herself, but it seems like she just worn out and has a bad attitude towards everyone and comes off as disrespectful, as said earlier.
So some solutions that I found were Jansen could have taught Lopez management and leadership before giving her the position. Since Lopez was inexperienced, Jansen could have sent someone in to assist Lopez with everything she was doing. Some advantage I see from this, Jansen's teaching of management and leadership to Lopez could have given Jansen an idea of how Lopez would be under that kind of pressure. Sending someone in to assist and guide Lopez on her management decisions can lead to better decision making. Some disadvantage though, through Jansen's teaching, Lopez might have overcomplicated things when she got to the position There could have easily been miscommunication and arguments between the two, leading to even more worse of an outcome. Course of action that I found, although Jansen did a great job with communication among the team, she could have been more involved with Lopez and her decision-making. Having someone who's more experienced in leadership teach one of their managers can be a big deal when handling business. Our plan, if we were in the situation, we could have personally checked in on Lopez. We could make sure she wouldn't make any decisions without letting us know. And we would want her to create relationships with her employees as well. Potential problem could be that she could become arrogant and would want to be left alone to manage her team instead of having us be there helping her.
All right, so some of the moral and ethical issues that I found. The first one was destroying trust. Lopez had gone from a really great worker to a really bad leader. And then with that being a bad leader and destroying trust, she started saying things that weren't actually true. For example, when Eric brought up the Charles situation, she had gone and said to her workers and her teammates that, hey, this guy needs the work now, and kind of pushing the urgency on it. And come to find out that that never really happened. And so that breaks a lot of trust within her teammates as well as her supervisors. And that was a really big one. And then without that trust in her team started to kind of doubt themselves and just believe that they weren't really worthy. And then my second point is selfishness. I find that Lopez was very selfish in this entire case. And one of the main things that I saw was that she wouldn't give the workers all the information they needed to complete those tasks to the best of their abilities. And I feel like if you're not given all the information you need, then your work is just not going to be complete regardless. And so that is very selfish of her, just to not give all that information to the workers so that they could do their best ability with their work. And then she would assign this work to them and then get mad because it wasn't up to her expectation. So again, if you don't give everybody the information that they need, their work is not going to be satisfactory. So that was just selfish on her part. And then another thing is that she would do the work of 6 people. And like we said previously, she would go in and document. She wouldn't even document on the comments that she made on their work, and then just completely change it altogether to wait on her side. And that is too much work for one person. And again, very selfish on her part. And then my third point is ruining reputation. So she, again, would go and tell her teammates about somebody is saying this, we need to put an urgency on it. And so, they're rushing and they're not having all the information. And so if they mess up something, that's going to turn back onto the company and ruin their reputation with either customers, future customers, anything like that. It's just going to ruin their reputation and just kind of make them look bad. And then my fourth point is manipulation. Again, she would say things that others never said, and she would edit things without documentation that she had edited them. She wouldn't even talk to them about, what they edited. And then she had her team thinking that they weren't good enough. So that is my biggest point about her manipulation, is she made her team feel completely unworthy. And there was even a sentence in there that one of the teammates called her a dictator. So I think that is a very big factor, that they just feel manipulated to her information that she was not giving them and stuff like that. And then my last slide is class topics. So we talk about proper leadership skills throughout this entire course. And I think that, we've taken these tests to show where our strengths lie and where our weaknesses lie. And so we talk about how to encourage others and how to do their work and reward them for their work. And so that's just proper leadership. And again, like Lopez did not have that leadership because she was not encouraging her teammates to work well and to work to work hard. And when she did, she kind of like shut them down for their hard work. And so it's just, she also just didn't pay attention to like where you put your workers to where they strive the best. My second point is knowing yours as well as other strengths and weaknesses. So again, we take these tests throughout the course to learn like where our strengths and weaknesses lie. And knowing where you stand, whether it's a weakness or a strength, I think is very beneficial for yourself as well as others, because maybe somebody has the same set of issues or strengths as you do, and so you can kind of relate to them and help them out. And it just also working on yourself is very showing to others, and it helps them be like, oh, okay, well, if you're doing it, I can do it too. And so that's a very big factor. And then, just allowing others to show you their strengths and weaknesses will go a really long way. And she just was not capable of letting people show where their strengths lied, because again, she just took over the complete assignment, whatever it was. She just took it over completely without letting them show what they could do. And then my last one is handling certain situations. Again, like Eric said in the beginning, she could not take criticism whatsoever, regardless of who was helping her. Jansen was trying to help her, and just trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, but she got very defensive and unresponsive and just kind of shut down completely and just wouldn't help herself pretty much. And so even in these discussions that we have in class, like we talk to each other about how, hey, like you did this really well, how about trying this next time? And so that is constructive criticism, and that's a healthy way of it. But Janison was trying to give that to Lopez, and she just wasn't taking it. So those are my 3 class topics that I saw within the case.